But who better than me?
Welcome back to Base Talks. As always, please like and subscribe, share with a friend, a colleague, a relative, an associate, an enemy, any and all in between. I do appreciate all the views, all the comments, and everything else. Now, as some of you will know, especially those who've seen the community tab, I did do an interview with OPETAIA a couple of weeks ago, and due to an error on my part, basically it didn't upload and save correctly, and I ended up deleting half the files. So I reached out, and he was gracious enough to give me some more of his time to redo it. It's a little bit different to the last one, but we got there in the end, and I'm extremely grateful, extremely proud of both of them. I feel like they were both great in slightly different ways. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoy this one. So yeah, please like and subscribe. Enjoy, leave your comments and everything, and I'll catch you afterwards. This is Base the Kid, the hardcore casual, and I'm delighted to be joined once again by the IBF and Ring Magazine Cruiserweight Champion of the World, Jai OPETAIA. Jai, listen, it's been almost a month since your last defense of the belt. How did it feel? Just how's things been in that time frame?
Good man. I'm happy with the result we had on September 30, but I'm not looking backwards anymore. I'm keen for the next one. So
Fair enough. Look, I don't want to talk too much about that time, but because it was your first defense of the title. Like, you'd had the belt, but you'd been out for just over a year. Different situations, injury, people pulling out of purse bids, etc., etc. But just how did it kind of feel to be back in the ring, and sort of what was one of the more valuable lessons you sort of took from that time?
man, it felt good. Hey, like the whole lead up and stuff like that. There was a lot of media and a lot of talk about Jordan Thompson and his power, and I felt like even though he hadn't sort of proven himself to date, they were really backing him. Like everyone there that had something to do with the fight night was really backing him. But it was sort of pumping me up in every sort of interview we had, every press conference there was. Everyone was talking about all of him and how he was going to win the world title. But I was over the talking. I was just by the time I was in that change room, and warming up, I was just thinking, finally, we're here. So, it was good. It was good. It was all learning, and you know, to headline OVO Stadium, a huge achievement in my career. But like I said, man, I can't wait for the next one.
So you were saying that, like, there was a lot of people talking, a lot of people were backing him. The undercard people was there they're looking for him to sort of secure that belt and get that Ring magazine. Did that feel like disrespect to you, or was it more a case of, okay, well, look, they got to back their boy, but I'm here to not let that happen?
Yeah, not so much disrespect. They weren't going about it as a disrespectful way. But yeah, but like you said, man, I was here to get a job done. I was there on a mission, and I still am on a certain mission. To collect the rest of the belts. But it was just all fuel on the fire. And the way he was talking and the way he was, you know, um, saying he was going to knock me out and things like that. It was it made me work harder, to be honest. You know what I mean? I was expecting a lot more. And I even told him at one of the press conferences, don't disappoint me, because I was expecting such a war. So,
So, okay, it definitely wasn't a war. So did you almost feel let down? Was you expecting like a hard, grueling fight, or was you more like, well, you know what? I'm out of here, happy, healthy. I've got no injuries. I've got no cuts, bruises. Let's go again.
um, yeah, well, bit of both. I was expecting a war, but I didn't get that. I felt pretty comfortable in there, but and then that was the first time coming out of the ring and being injury free for such a long time. It was pretty much the next day after the fight, all I was thinking about was, what's next? When are we in next? So, I feel blessed to be able to come out of the ring and just focus on the next fight.
No, I mean, um, a lot of people talk about ring rust. They say, when you're out of the ring for, probably 8, 9 months onwards, like sometimes it takes a little while to build up. Even though the fight only sort of went 4 rounds, did you feel anything, or did you feel maybe not as sharp as you were before, or did you just feel comfortable back in the groove?
Comfortable, man. Back where I belong, and I'm a lot younger than these guys that they're all putting me up against, all these other, title holders and stuff. I was 27 when I won the belt and 28 when I had my first defense. So, it's I, I still feel like I'm yet to reach my peak, to be honest. I feel like I've got so much more growing to do. And even though we had that 1 year off, we were so active. We had like I think we had about 4 camps before we got to Jordan because there was so many pullouts and stuff like that. And we were like 2 weeks out from a date. So, we weren't sitting on our ass just waiting for a fight. We were in the gym working, grinding every day, like growing, like getting faster, sharper. Like every day was improving for us. So, you know, we don't just, we're not part time. I don't have other things to do. Like my boxing has my full focus, so that's all I do.
I hear that. I hear that. I mean, where does that sort of come from? Like you say, boxing's kind of all you do. You've grown up in boxing. Like, was there ever anything else you had interest in and it kind of took your heart, or was it just, no, this is all I've ever known, this is what I love?
Yeah, boxing has always been my number one priority. It's always come first, and ever since I was a kid, anything I had on or whatever plans we had, as soon as a fight would come up, that was my number one priority, and that's how it's always been in my life. So, these guys. They come and go. They're visitors to me. They and even the training camps. They visit these deep waters that I live in. Like I just feel like to, I just create distance every day, man. I just can't wait for the next fight. To be honest.
I hear you. Okay, so I do remember you saying last time that like you are basically fourth generation boxer on your dad's side and I think third on your mom's. So with that, like you said, you was kind of born into it. It's all you've ever known, it's all you've ever wanted to do. But I want to sort of phrase that a slightly different way. Was there ever an opportunity to do something else, or was literally in the household that's all we speak about and there's no other options?
um, we have had that discussion. And I feel like I always grew up like I had the box. You know what I mean? I felt like I didn't have a choice, and first couple pro fights, you start to lose the joy about it. You know what I mean? It starts to become work, and you lose the joy. But I had conversations with my mum. She's the one who bring the desire back to me. She's told me like if I just wanted to stop boxing tomorrow and pick something else. They still got my back. They still love me the exact same way they would if I was to continue boxing. So that was one conversation that I always really hold dearly to me, and I'm real grateful that I had that conversation because after having it, it made me think like I'm doing this for me. That I'm not forced to do this. They've given me an opportunity, and my father has helped me, sort of guided me in that direction, but it wasn't forced. You know what I mean? It was printed out, and we took it together. But after that conversation, it started to become a joy, and then it was like I am good at this, and I do. And when you start to love it, it just takes it to a whole new level. You know what I mean? So
So I can really hear the passion, like when it comes to, this is what I do, this is what I love, and I just want to do more of it. Now, when we look at your career, your first 4 years as a pro, you were very active between 3 to 5 fights a year, from 4 rounders up to sort of 8 and even 10 rounders. And then from sort of 2019 onwards, it was like one fight a year. Now, has do you think that that's maybe limited or stunted your growth? I mean, bear in mind you've got a ceiling that you're nowhere near reaching yet, but do you feel like you would be closer to that peak now if you was able to have more activity, or is it just look, it's a part of the game, it's a part of the process. I'm here and yeah, that's it.
Man, we can always look back and wish things were different, but at the moment, bro, I'm the ringside world champion and the IBF world champion, and I'm ranked number one cruiserweight in the world. So, all those setbacks have led to this day. They've led to these fights. I waited patiently for an opportunity to fight for a world title when I got Breeders, and who not better to fight than Breeders? You know what I mean? They called him the king of the cruiserweight division, and he was such a prestige cruiserweight throughout his whole career. And to beat him in the way I did beat him, you know, we can always look back at our past and hope things went different. But if they went different, would that fighter come? So, I'm blessed to be here, and I'm just cannot wait for the next opportunity. You know what I mean? I don't look backwards. I look forwards. So, I'm just training hard and waiting for the next one to come because they will come. These big fights will come. These you know, other belts will come. I know they will. And I just got to be ready for when they do.
Where does your grit and desire and determination come from? Because if we go back to the Breeders' fight, remember we're talking about a double broken jaw. I think it first break was like around sort of the third, fourth round, and then towards the end, and you've literally going through a severe amount of pain, and there was not 1 ounce of quit in you. Your shoulder starts to sort of come out, and you have to then deal with that afterwards. Where does that determination to say, like, you have to nail me to the floor to keep me out of this ring? Where does that come from?
Pain and sacrifice, man. We've had to sacrifice so much to get here, to this point today. We've so much has been trying to drag us back. You know what I mean? So much has been trying to drag me backwards. Injuries, promoters I've had to deal with. I'm still going through court fee. I'm still in court with one of my old promoters. It's things haven't always worked in our favor. They've constantly everything trying to drag us back. I've had to drag myself out of some deep fucking holes, man, mentally. You know what I mean? Like by myself, and I'm still here. You know what I mean? I've sacrificed way too much to give up over a broken jaw. this these things are just that physical pain is not even close to the emotional pain we've had to put ourselves through. So, you know, who's next?
Okay, I hear that. I hear that. Well, look, obviously that's like I said, but you've had your shoulder surgery, so you say your shoulder's good, your jaw's fine. You've said the last time you're able to actually punch properly with your left hand now, and that's part of the reason why the power is starting to show. Um, so can you just talk me through briefly, like what was the situation with the hand and why you weren't really able to use it effectively?
Um, well, yeah, man, I had a bad left hand for a long time in my career. Yeah, this is actually the third. My last three professional fights is the only time I've ever had a good left hand that I've been able to train with it. Um, I've actually been able to finish sparring sessions. You know what I mean? Like before the last three camps, man, we used to get all these sparring in, and we'd do 4 rounds, and then my hand would just go on me, and then I wouldn't be able to finish any more sparring for a whole lead up. So it was just all fitness. So, we've been through the trenches, man. You know what I mean? And that's why I feel like people haven't seen the best of me either, because even just being able to have a proper spot, like a proper training camp leading into a fight, it's just a whole new level where I've been able to take it. You know what I mean? I've been able to push my body to whole new limits. It's just a whole new version of me, and I feel like I've still got more levels to sort of gain.
I mean, that's crazy to know that you weren't even able to train properly like before, because your performances in the ring prior to Bradis even wouldn't have really suggested that you were still getting stoppages with one arm, basically one hand. So I mean, is that just testament to, I guess, like you said, the hard work that you put in, or do you just have to focus more on your right? Like, how did you basically cope in that time?
Hey, we didn't have a choice. It was do or die. Seriously, we didn't have a choice. So when you're not given a choice, you find out how to do it. You know what I mean? It's just what we had to do. And before we got the hand surgery, we couldn't afford that. It was $13,000 Australian to get a hand surgery. We didn't have that money. We were still trying to make ends meet, so it was just something we had to do. Like we weren't gonna sit around and whinge about it. We just had to find a way to get the best out of how we could. So, and that's what we did.
I hear that. I hear that. Okay, so if we look forward a little bit now, like you, I believe, are supposed to have a mandatory moving forward with Miles Bradis. Do you think he's going to take that? Because he allowed the voluntary due to an injury, but do you think that he still has desire like to face you again? Like, how do you see that going?
Honestly, man, I have no clue. Um, I don't know what he's gonna do. Um, he's still ranked pretty high in other belts, like other sanctioning. So, whether he wants to give me a pass and go for an easier belt, it's possible. You know what I mean? And I do believe Breedis is still a high chance of winning a lot of those belts against those other fighters. But if he fights me, I believe his career's over.
Do you think if he fights you again, that this time you can actually stop him and be the first guy to do that?
I don't really like to say things like that. You know what I mean? Because then I don't like to really chase it in the fight. I just like to fight smart, do what I got to do. But I do believe I beat him better than last time I beat him. I'm feeling fitter, stronger. I believe I can push myself even further for my next training camp. Um, and to be honest, I don't think he's getting any better. I feel like he's been trying to maintain, his best for a long time, and and I at his age and my age, I guarantee, I promise you, it is impossible for him to outwork me in a training camp unless he's on steroids. I guarantee it. It is impossible for him at his age to outwork me in the training camp unless he's on steroids, performance enhancing drugs. If he's not on them, then he cannot, it is impossible. His body cannot keep up with me.
Is that something that you worry about? Obviously, we hear a lot of stories now of people popping because there's a lot more tests readily available. Matchroom, for instance, they do a lot of drug testing nowadays. You've seen several adverse findings recently. With you being the king of the divisions, like, do you worry about someone trying to get an unfair advantage to take you down because they can't do it naturally?
I believe anyone that takes performance enhancing drugs against someone that doesn't is a fucking pussy, straight up. Like that's weak as piss, bro. Like it will all get tested. No one should be on it. And if they are on it, they should be in their own little competition with other people that are. You know what I mean? If you're cheating, you're cheating, and let them do what they want. You know what I mean? I don't believe it's going to make their boxing ability any better. So we'll just see how they go.
Fair enough, fair enough. Okay, so let's say that the Braders fight doesn't happen, then what do you want next?
Man, I want the belts. That's all I want. I want to fight for belts and I want to unify the division. I'd love to fight Chris Billum Smith first. I heard he's fighting Massenak. Um, you know, I, I feel like Massenak's had his best days are behind him as well. He fucked us around for ages, saying he was going to fight us and postponing and just bullshit. You know what I mean? They just dragged it on for no reason. Um, they just kept me inactive for no reason. These guys, it just didn't make any sense. But we're here now, and I just want to fight for the belts. So whoever's got the belts, let's get it on.
Okay. Now, I know you mentioned Chris Smith there. So he's got the WBO. Now, one thing that I've seen, and this might just be circumstantial, but everyone sort of from Jeff Horn, George Kambosos, Now we've got Tim Tszyu. Like e- everyone sort of from sort of Australia, New Zealand, Joseph Parker as well. They always seem to gravitate towards that WBO belt. Is there something about that belt that I don't know from that region, or is it just happens to be that's just the one that they managed to get their hands on?
Yeah, I haven't been told about it, but man, I am keen to fight for the WBO. I really want it.
Is there a reason specific to that?
Bro, just personal reasons, But I'm just sick of wasting time. I'm sick of talking about fights that don't happen. Like even Chris Billum Smith being at my fight, like why be there? Why pretend like you're gonna fight me and then just go run off and fight Masanak? Like it doesn't make sense to me. I'll fight anyone with a belt. I do does not bother me.
Okay, fair enough. So, all right. So do you think he was there to maybe scout you as a potential opponent, or that he was just there, because it's an opportunity to see who else is in the division?
Man, I got no clue. I honestly reckon if Jordan Thompson would have won, they got that fight. But the way I won, I feel like now they don't want to fight. But I feel like it's a fight that could be made pretty easy.
Okay, I hear that. Well, look, I know, I think you said, look, realistically for what you would like, and maybe this has changed, but the WBO first, then go for the others afterwards. Um, Now, I know you said obviously personal reasons. You did tell me last time, so if you would just let us know like what the reason is why that belt holds like such a special place in your heart, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, well, my grandfather, he always had a sort of connection to that belt, and one time I just really want to win it and show him that I've won it for him. You know what I mean? He's always asked me about it, so one day I want to win it and tell him, yeah, I do have it. So I just, you know,
That World Billy OPETAIA belt, yeah.
yeah, yeah, man.
Okay, so let me ask you, because obviously you just said that it's to do with your grandfather, like it's something that he wants, so you want to kind of do that for him. Now we've just established that family for you does seem to be very important. Um, Part of that I think is I don't know obviously a huge amount about the culture, but I know like Samoan culture is very sort of family orientated, and it's very sort of tight knit. So with that being said, if you get the opportunity to fight Chris Billum Smith, but you have to be the away fighter, for lack of a better word, like you have to basically be the B side. The same, similar to how Devin Haney had to do with George Kambosos when he went to Australia. You had to have your name second on the poster. You had to walk first. All these things, even though you're the consensus number one in the division. Would you, would you be able to? Would you be prepared, sorry, to make those sacrifices, acquiesce to those demands to get your hands on that belt, or do you hold more value in yourself than that at this time?
Um, that's something what I have to sit down with my team and sort of sit down with and go over. But I believe no matter where I fight him, I still beat him.
Fair enough. I mean, that's the resolve you have to have, being the consensus number one. So I get it. All right. So moving away from there for the moment. In terms of just activity, like as we were saying before, like you haven't been as active as you would have wanted recently. So when are you hoping to be out again? Now, I know that we can never really predict these things, but in an ideal scenario, you're always in the gym. You don't want to let that go to waste. So when would you sort of like to be back out?
Um, and to be honest, the sooner the better. They haven't even spoke to me about negotiations and stuff yet, so I'm not sure. I'm just sitting patiently waiting for the date to get locked in before I really start knuckling down and training. Because the way I train, I don't want to overdo it. So, I'm just kicking back, waiting. So hopefully the team comes back to me with a date soon and we can get these show under the road because, I'm sick of wasting time. I'm sick of talking about fighting. I'll come out of that fight untouched, uninjured, and I want to keep the ball rolling. So, as soon as they give me the date, I'll be ready.
Okay, speaking about obviously training, real quick, I don't want to sort of dwell on this one too much, but like, it's an interesting thing. You obviously being a southpaw, southpaws, different to orthodox conventionally. When you were starting out, what were some of the key things that you had to work on, or that you sort of worked with when you was training? Like, what were some of the best techniques or the best methods that you found effective for you?
Um, when I first started, I was actually doing a lot of kickboxing because you weren't allowed to fight boxing until you were 14 in my state. So we had to travel for boxing out of state. But I was just having heaps of kickboxing fights. My old man just chucked me into any sort of combat sport to get me in the ring, get me some experience and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I feel like a lot of it's got to do with like the feet work. It was a lot of foot drills, and I spent a lot of time. I feel like that's why I have a decent style as well, and I can sort of adapt is because I've spent so much time with different people as well. Like I've spent a lot of time in the Australian AIS with a lot of the Australian boxing coaches. My dad's been away for a while, and I've had to train with other boxing coaches for several months, and picking up little things from there. So everywhere I've went, I've sort of just adapted and picked little like good things from every style I've been around and stuff like that. All the coaches I've been around, I've sort of picked up little things off them, and sort of added them to my game, and I still continue to add to my game. You know what I mean? We've never learned it all. Boxing's one of those sports. So
Okay, okay. Um, Another one. I guess a couple weeks ago, Tim Tszyu defended his WBO belt against Brian Mendoza that he was elevated to. Now, I know we spoke about it sort of prior to the fight. I remember you said that you used to be on a lot of cards with him before. I know you two with different promoters now, but like, what was it like, sort of, I guess, seeing him achieve that goal? Obviously, with a belt that you sort of do hold prestigious, and how did you find his performance?
yeah, good man. He's sharp, he's strong, and he's got good pressure. He's entertaining to watch. He just loves it. He loves the punch on. So it's good to watch. But yeah, I'm happy for him, bro. I've seen him come up from a young kid to where he is now. So you know that shit's not that's not that doesn't happen by accident. You know what I mean? Like where I've seen him come from and where he is now, that's hard work. That you can't deny that. So he gets everything he deserves. So you can't. No matter if I was to sit here and disrespect him or say bad things about him, you can't deny where he started and where he is. You know what I mean? He's worked extremely hard, so you just got to take your hat off to him.
And he was fighting in Australia, but he's, I think, is very much the polar opposite to you at this point, because he wants to go to Vegas. He wants the big American nights, whereas you've quite consistently stated you want to build a big stable, a big base within the Australian market. It's a booming market, it's upcoming. You want to expand that. Why do you think that he wants to do it the other way? And sort of other Australian boxers, they want to go elsewhere rather than build what they can at home.
Um, Man, I just want to tick some boxes. You know what I mean? I feel like Tim Tszyu's been the face of Australian boxing, and it's been about Tim Tszyu lately. You know what I mean? What through his professional career. So he's already ticked the Australian boxers and fought at home in Sydney and stuff like that. For me, I've been trying to build up a fight to fight at home in Gosford Stadium for a long time. It's something that I've always wanted to do, and until I do something like that, then I won't feel like I've accomplished what I really wanted to accomplish. So that would be huge for me to get something like that, and then after that, man, we'll see what happens. We'll go anywhere, but you know, like I said, I've really wanted to accomplish some of these goals as a kid. So I'm not giving up on them.
Okay, no, that makes sense. All right. With exception to Crispin and Smith, 'cause I know we spoke about him. Obviously, he's got a belt. You want to unify. Um, are there any other British cruiserweights that either you've kept your eye on or that you've seen that you're impressed with that maybe you would like to get in the ring with, like in the future?
There's a few British cruiserweights, man. The cruiserweight division in the UK is huge, but like I said, I'm not really chasing names. You know, if they come up to me and they come with a good offer to fight for the belt, we'll sit down and we'll have a chat. But if I'm getting to pick and I'm going to sort of choose who I get to fight, it'll be someone with a belt. Otherwise, what's the point? Because I want to win these belts and then I want to move up to heavyweight. So, the sooner I win these belts and the sooner these fights happen, the better for not just for me, but for everyone. I feel, who doesn't want to see the champions fight other champions.
Okay, so you just said so you want to win the belt, so go undisputed and move up to heavyweight. Um, all right, so two-part question for that because I'm interested in this one. There's only been three cruiserweights that have gone up to heavyweight and won a championship. Obviously, you've got Evander Holyfield, you've got David Haye, and you've got Alexander Usyk. Of those three, like, how would you have seen? I know this is hypotheticals, except for possibly Usyk, that still is a possibility. But how would you have seen you getting on with those guys? Like, you and your coming up to your peak now and them. How would you have seen those kind of fights?
Perfect. Right. Look at all their styles. They're all boxers. They all move. They're all good, smart IQ boxers that outbox the big punches. That's that's what I do. Is exactly what I do. So it's just a matter of time. I'm telling you, you just got to get these fights out of the way. I'm been calling out these other champions for a while now. Well, I just want these fights to happen. You know what I mean? It's taking its time. I just want to get the ball rolling, man.
Now they say that Tyson Fury has asked you or has possibly presented you opportunity to spar with him for the Usyk bout. Are those rumors true, and is that something that you're looking at?
They are true. I recently just spoke to Joseph Parker and Tyson Fury's manager just the other day. They're still excited. They still want me over there to come over and spar and stuff. So all that's going to happen, and we just take it all as experience. I'm excited to go over there and also open doors for myself because I know once I go over there, I earn respect.
And I know that earning respect is a big thing for you. You've said that before. Like you don't want to be given respect. You want to earn it. You want to earn it by your performances. You want to earn it in the ring. And I guess that's an opportunity to do that. So you said you want to go up to heavyweight. I'm assuming by the time you're ready to go there, realistically, I guess the Anthony Joshua's, the Tyson Furies, the Usyks may have left the division. So there's like the secondary crop coming up now. Are there any of those guys that you've like got your eyes on that you think would be a good style matchup for yourself? Sort of just the second crop underneath that.
Um, to be honest, I haven't even looked into the division that much. You know what I mean? I haven't really. I've only looked see the guys that are there at the top at the moment, but I've really just been focusing on collecting these cruiserweight belts first. You know what I mean? And then when that time comes, it comes then. But until now, I've just got my full focus on ticking all these cruiserweight boxes and doing what I got to do to become unified.
Fair enough. I mean, looking, you're right. Eyes on the prize. If you start looking too far in the future, you do miss what's in front of you. So I appreciate that. Last one away from boxing before I let you go. Um, I heard a bit of a rumor that you're the person that taught Terence Crawford to catch the big fish. Is that true?
Nah, I don't know about, man. I would love to go fishing with Terence Crawford, but hey, I'll fish Terence Crawford any day of the week. I love my fishing, man. I love my fishing.
Now it's funny. I spoke with Justice Hooney a couple days ago, and he said that he likes to fish as well for relaxation outside of the ring. But I asked him, I said, "Well, look, when I spoke to Jai said like no, he he loves fishing, that you like that. He said, no, I'm not on that level. Like, talk to us. Where does that I guess competitive nature in something you do as a hobby, where does that come from?
Oh, to be honest, I'm competitive with everything I do. You know what I mean? Me and my missus play board games, and we could not talk to each other for the rest of the day. Like we're competitive, so it's just a part of who I am, and it's just how I've always been. You know what I mean? I come from 7 siblings, so we've always had to try and compete for that last plate of food. So it's just it's in us.
I hear that. Well, look, Jai, look, thank you very much for giving me your time once again. I do appreciate it. When you've got some news, please let me know. And if it's in Australia, I would love to try and see if I can work something to come out there and experience a different type of fight atmosphere. But yeah, I do thank you for your time. I know it's quite late over there now, so you're probably resting up, getting ready to relax. So yeah, I appreciate you, and hopefully we'll speak soon. All right.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thanks for having me, bro. And I hope you can make it over to Australia. It'll be good to have you.
I'm gonna try, but I appreciate that. Speak soon.
Thank you. Cheers, mate.
It's not often you can kind of resonate with someone's spirit and their energy, but I just want to see Jai get active now, because I feel like that talent, that talent needs to be seen more regularly on a global stage. He's got big ambitions, as you've heard. He's looking to move up to heavyweight as soon as he's cleaned up in cruiser. So yeah, let's see where we go to. But yeah, on to the next one. As soon as he does have some more fight news information, I will be interested to obviously get back in touch. But hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave your comments below. Let me know if you did, if you didn't, if there's anything I could have done better. This isn't really my field, so it's just something that I'm trying for the people that want me to. But yeah, let me know how you feel, and I will catch you on the next video. But until then, it's another Base Talks down, and we move.